Well, it only took 5 seasons and 4 episodes, but finally, Breaking Bad fans have the character return that we have all been waiting for.
Skank, skank, skank ass, skank! Skank ass, skank! Skank ass, skank!
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my Better Call Saul reviews, and now we are at episode 4 of season 6. Definitely a downshift from last week, which, let's be honest, we all needed, but still a very fun episode. So the cold open was very interesting. Kind of gives these two people that are bicycling around. They stop to see this peculiar colored house, and then it's revealed that inside of their house is this little bit of a security system going on, and we're left to linger about what exactly that is till about the end of the episode. But eventually revealing that Gus has these two houses conjoined with this little secret Batman passage, which is just a very Gus thing to have, and that he's got the whole fucking city of Albuquerque like under siege waiting for Lalo. They're really doing a good job at slowly building up whatever the hell Lalo's presence is going to be in this season, because we've now gone, what, 2 episodes without even seeing or hearing about what he's doing. So whenever he finally does show up, it's certainly going to be explosive. Can't wait for that. And it just continues to flesh out what a badass that Gus is and how much he just prepares 10 steps ahead. The fact that he bought this house and likely bought the house next to it, created this little secret tunnel between them, just in case he ever needed it, and he's certainly putting it to good use right now. And he's got these 2 people basically on the payroll to look like a normal functioning couple that just live in the basement of this second house that he owns. So, wild scenario. They didn't get too far into it, they gave you just enough, but it's just a wild extra little puzzle piece to the picture that is Gus Fring. But the main thing that I loved about this episode, and I probably am not going to be in the minority with this one, was when Jimmy had to disguise himself as Howard Hamlin. That was fucking hilarious. And it was funny, it was a tease for a second, because Howard Hamlin parks his car, he sits down for his little psychology session about his dad, and he starts to talk about this dream that he had, and then it immediately cuts to Jimmy, or Saul, I guess I should call him at this point, walking down the street with the spray tan and the fucked up toupee hair and the bullshit suit, and just looking as insufferable and looking as cheaply classy as he possibly can to mimic Howard Hamlin. For a minute there, I thought that that was Howard's dream, that he was dreaming that he was Jimmy, and I was like, where is this going? When it showed him with the key, and I realized this was just part 2 of his plan to take his car and do whatever he was going to do with it, I lost it. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. And the eventual plan to finally bring back Wendy, a great little recurring side character from the Breaking Bad universe, and stage this whole thing like he's throwing a hooker out of his car in front of Ed Begley. That shit was hilarious, and I can't wait to see how that relationship starts to dissolve between Ed Begley's character and Howard Hamlin, because he is just setting up all the pins to destroy this guy's reputation. But in a weird way, even though Howard has always been insufferable in this show to a certain degree, and he's always said the wrong thing and certainly was a complete dick to Kim, so a lot of us don't like him even if he is not necessarily a guy that deserves what they're doing to him. Him sitting there with his psychiatrist and talking about his dad and, you know, doing things to try to better himself as a person, it certainly makes it a little bit harder. It makes it to where you're like, man, ugh. I wonder if it's going to get to a point where even though we're enjoying seeing him get taken down about 35 pegs, that we're eventually going to see where it takes him and we're going to feel bad for him and be like, oh no, Jimmy. Almost like whenever he did the whole scheme with the old lady in season 3, where you're like, oh, Jimmy, no, don't go there. Don't go there, Jimmy. Now, certainly a standout scene that we have all been waiting for numerous seasons at this point was when Kim and Mike finally come face to face. So Kim has been followed by these 2 people in this car. We've been speculating for a couple weeks who that might be. Is it Lalo's people? Is it somebody that knows within the legal system what's going on, and they're getting ready to take down Kim and or Saul? And it turns out it's actually just people that Mike hired to follow them in case Lalo shows up. Very plausible, certainly something that, I don't know if I saw that coming or not, which makes me feel stupid, but whenever he sat down and he's like, look, the people that you caught following you, you're not going to catch them anymore. But I loved the conversation that he had, which is always some of the most human elements that you get from Mike whenever he's talking to somebody that is not necessarily in the game, is not necessarily there trying to be tied in with the drug cartel and all of that and all the craziness that he's involved with Gus. If he talks with somebody that is a byproduct, like Nacho's father or like Kim, the husband of Saul, who's getting tied into all of this stuff, I like the fact that he really gets down to earth and he gets human with them, and he really kind of connects with them on a human level instead of being like this mob enforcer or this badass that we all know that he is. He's just like, look, I was doing this to protect you. I was doing this just in case he showed up. Chances are he wasn't going to, but this is a reason why you are being followed. So from now on, hopefully you won't find them. You won't see them in the rearview mirror. But if you do, just let them do their job, and then you'll be beneficial for that. And I liked the respect that he showed Kim, to where she's like, hey, why are you telling me this? Why are you not telling Saul this? And he's like, I think you're built a little bit sturdier than your husband. So it's just something that Mike always knows so much more than he lets on. He's always able to just look right into somebody. He's always able to see beyond the surface. And even the fact that, to a certain degree, he likes Saul, and certainly they have a bit of a continuing work relationship that eventually dissolves, since he's not very friendly with him in Breaking Bad. I like the fact that he's able to see through and kind of connect with Kim on a level of like, look, your husband's involved with some shit. I'm involved with some shit, but you should be steering clear of this. It was also a really interesting development that Jimmy is kind of now this pariah within the courthouse. The woman that he usually would give gifts or, grease her palms a little bit to get some good cases, didn't want anything to do with him. The prosecuting lawyer that he has kind of butted heads with a couple of times pretty much just calls him out, and he's like, dude, I liked you better whenever you were just kind of a bottom feeder, but now you're scum. I thought that it was a nice point to really kind of hone in on how far Jimmy has fallen. There's been tons of times where he's done schemes, but now that everybody pretty much knows for a fact that he has lied and created schemes to get a murderer and a drug runner and a psychopath back out on the streets, and he's being held accountable for it. I thought that was really interesting. And the other side of the development, which was absolutely hilarious to me, was that whenever the streets find out that this is the guy that got Lalo Salamanca off, the guy that got him released, and all of a sudden his nail salon is just flooded with all of these bottom feeders and these criminals, and we get the return of Spooge, baby! And it tells you how much of a Breaking Bad fanatic I am that I knew that was Spooge before he even said his name. I mean, he is not all methed out yet. He looks like a normal, functioning human being with some style issues, but I saw his face, I was like, is that fucking Spooge? And then it's like, Mr. Spooge? It's just Spooge. It's just Spooge. I was like, yes! He returns! It was perfect that we got the return of Wendy and the return of Spooge within the same episodes, because they are certainly the grimier side of the Breaking Bad universe, but those characters are absolutely hilarious. So I love the fact that they found a way to bring them back into this prequel side of Better Call Saul. And it's starting to show the beginnings of how Saul Goodman became known as the criminal lawyer. If you're a guy that's fucked up, if you're on the wrong side of the tracks, the wrong side of the law, that's the guy you want representing you. And these are just the first couple of cards that's going to build that house that eventually falls in Breaking Bad. Leaving out the episode on the introduction of the little mini mall segment that he eventually purchases and becomes, the Saul Goodman offices. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how his secretary comes back in, because she was such a sweet woman in, season 3? And then she is such a bitter, just angry person all throughout Breaking Bad. I want to see that journey. That's a kind of an origin story that I really want the answers to. So all in all, guys, I really enjoyed this episode. Certainly not an episode that really stands out, grabs you by the throat, but we just had that last week, and I'm certain that we're going to have plenty more of those as this season progresses. So this was a nice little downshift. I thought that the whole Howard Hamlin thing was absolutely a standout, hilarious moment for the middle of this season thus far. So if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to click this playlist over here for the rest of my Better Call Saul reviews. And if you guys are Breaking Bad fans, I also have a video over here where I've ranked all of the seasons of Breaking Bad. So check those out. Please like and share this video and hit that subscribe button if you do enjoy it so you don't miss anything in the future. Thank you for watching as always, and remember, opinions are like assholes, but that doesn't mean that you have to be.